Motorola has been the quiet sleeper in the market for quite a while. It doesn't make much noise, but in the foldable space it has been secretly winning for quite a while. It holds 50% of the US foldable smartphone market and 67% of the flip foldable market. And now Motorola steps into the fold market with arguably my favorite foldable yet. What's up guys, my name is Nathan B. Tech. I've been using the Motorola Razr Fold for over 4 weeks, and we've been testing it in the areas in terms of display, design, performance, battery, camera, and software. This is my Motorola Razr Fold review after the hype. Let's get it. So when it comes into design, Motorola is definitely taking a similar but slightly different approach from the competitors. It still does have that more candy bar aesthetic-like design. However, it is going to be slightly larger than its competitors with a 6.6 outer cover display opening into an 8.1 inch inner display. So very slightly taller than what a traditional Z Fold 7 or at this point 8 Ultra would offer. One thing that I did notice immediately upon getting the phone and using it for quite a while is the glass is slightly curved across all of the edges. When swiping, especially with gestures, you do get it feels almost as if it's like a premium experience because the glass is molded to where when you do swipe up or swipe left or right on the back gestures. It was a really cool touch. The camera bump has been the most controversial thing that I've seen in terms of like and or dislike with this phone. From an appearance perspective, a lot of people have been turned off from the phone just because of that camera bump. I've given it a nickname of oven top because you do got the 4 traditional, back to back to back to back squared circles. It does kind of add to the whole rocking situation when you try to use it like face down. Even when you put a case on it, the camera bulge is so big that it just never sits down straight, and that's just been one gripe that I've had this whole time, just because I do like to use my phone when it is face down. I know a lot of phones now these days don't really give you that luxury, and unfortunately this phone is one of them because of that. But going back to that, one cool thing that Motorola does that really not many other manufacturers do is the textured backing. One, it's not glass, so you don't got to worry about it shattering into a million pieces, but it also helps in terms of grip texture when you are using it. Overall, I think the phone sits perfectly in a good spot where it's not too bulky. Like I would consider like a Pixel device to be a little too bulky. It does curve and it feels a little bit more thinner in the hand as it should. But it's not as thin as a Z Fold 7, but it doesn't feel arguably much thicker than a Z Fold 7. So I think they did really good in the design, especially for a first time foldable device in terms of like book style. Now going back to display, it is, like I said, slightly larger. It's going to be a 6.6 inch cover display with an 8.1 inch inner display, and honestly it's been great. It's been very super bright. Like I've had no gripes about how bright it's been, especially the inner display has been fantastic. Motorola does claim a 6,200 nit peak brightness, so it is plenty bright compared to what a competitor offers. Like I said, the display has been fantastic. I had this cool background with like Mewtwo and Pokemon in the background. It's just very vibrant and very fresh, and it looks good. Now, one thing that kind of irritates me, and I don't know what Motorola was thinking on this, is the cover display goes up to 165 Hertz. However, the inner display, the display that you're arguably going to be playing games or anything genuinely for a higher refresh rate, that one's actually toned down to 120 Hertz. If it was the other way around, I think that would make plenty of sense, but unfortunately it is opposite. So you will get a higher hertz on the cover display versus the inner display. Granted, with the processor it does have, you probably wouldn't ever see a peak refresh rate of 165 Hertz ever, but it still is just a little irritating that it's like reversed. And if I did want a game and I somehow found a game that would manage 165 hertz, it wouldn't even work on the main display, which is the cover inner display, my opinion. I'm just saying. Now, cameras has been a very positive experience. So, fun fact, the Motorola Razr Fold has the biggest sensors out of the big three. Bigger sensors than the Samsung Z Fold 7, bigger sensors than the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. And it definitely shows in the side-by-side photos. Consistently, not every time, but consistently, the Motorola Razr Fold was taking better photos than the Pixel 10 Pro Fold and the Samsung Z Fold 7. Especially in low light photography, this is where it excels. The bigger sensor being able to take more light just makes it look fantastic in low light photography. And I guess considering these are the three phones that we have, this is taking the best low light photography, and I think a lot of people do take a lot of low light photography. The color temperature on the Razr Fold has been fantastic as well. A little bit more saturated than what I was expecting, but I've never been the guy to be like, oh, I hate saturation. Like, I think it looks good. When I look back at it and it looks good, I'm happy, right? It's been a good camera. It's a triple 50 megapixel lens camera. You got a main shooter 50 megapixel, an ultra wide 50 megapixel, and a telephoto at 50 megapixel. I think the Motorola Razr Fold definitely came up to the plate and definitely stood its ground. And I think it's a really good camera, especially for what you're paying compared to the competitors. So that being said, if camera was a concern, which I think a lot of people would be concerned just because it's like no one really knows about Motorola cameras, you have nothing to worry about. I think this has been fantastic and you should definitely give this a consider. Now, in terms of performance, it is slotted right in between the Pixel as well as the Samsung. Falls right in the middle, right? So definitely not as slow as a Pixel processor. It is going to be better in terms of gaming and hardcore tasks, but it's not as quite as fast as what a Samsung would offer with its Elite processor. The Motorola Razr Fold rocks a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 processor. So not the cream of the crop, but right below it. Still offers great performance, still offers a little bit better efficiency. However, it's just not going to be at the peak, frequency as what a Elite processor would offer. If you're playing any type of intense games, which many people don't play, then you'll notice a difference. But if you're doing casual day-to-day things, if you're doing regular everyday life things, you're not going to notice the speed difference. It's been a great device. And this kind of where battery falls in as well, right? In terms of performance, it's a little bit more efficient than what the Samsung would offer, and the battery is a behemoth compared to what Samsung offers. So if you're using this as a day-to-day media multitasking device, this is great. This is fantastic. It's got a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, and it's got a little bit more efficient processor. The battery on this thing is a beast, and you will love it just for that very reason. If battery was a concern for a foldable device for you, you do not have to worry about this. This thing is a beast, and you can play games on here, and you can multitask on here, and you can sit there and doom scroll all you want, and it will just keep running. It can charge, granted, this is if anyone has a 50 watt wireless charger, it could do it, but then it can also do 80 watts wired charging. So battery is never an issue with this phone. It has been a great anti-anxiety. If you have battery anxiety like me from previous phones, you don't gotta worry about it. It's been fantastic. Performance has been fantastic. The only thing that it lacks in ever type of performance category is really, its limitations with software. Motorola really needs to work on that. Now, going into software, this is the biggest thing that holds Motorola back. They just don't have enough R&D, and if they do, they're overpaying these guys and they're not getting the results back. Like, the return of investment's just not there. Granted, Motorola has gotten much better in its software over the courses of just a couple years, right? However, they are leagues behind, even when it comes to like a new brand like Nothing. Like, Nothing has first-party apps. It's got a weather app. It's got, all these first-party apps made by Nothing. Motorola just now got its weather app. I'm just using that as like an example. They just now have a weather app. And even if you click on anything in the weather app, it still takes you to the stinking website that just drives me mad. Motorola really needs to work on its software. Like I said, they've come a long way. They've done a lot, but for a company that's been around for this long and a company that wants to charge premium prices, you gotta give a really good first party experience. And they've just really lagged behind compared to the competitors. The multitasking is great, however it does stutter. It's just things that I wouldn't even say are limited by the processor. If a Nothing Phone 4a Pro can do all of these things smoothly, then at this point it's just Motorola's software just being unoptimized. It just lags, it stutters. Sometimes it looks a little janky, like especially when you want to show your friend something and you're like, check this out, and then it kind of lags and it looks like it's the phone doing that. It's just the software. Motorola really needs to work on the software, and not only that, but they need to make the software updates much quicker. The one thing that scares me with Motorola devices from all the way back then till this day is the lack of software support. Granted, they are saying you're gonna get, I believe it was 4 years, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 4 years. They did up the software support, so congrats to that. Good job, Motorola. However, it's the time, right? So yes, you will get Android 17 and beyond, but you're going to get it last. It's always been a Motorola thing that they are slow with software updates. Not to mention, and this is the scariest part, is if you do get a bad software update, if it's a little minor glitch, if it's a minor error in the animation or whatever it may be, it will take months for that to get fixed because they're just not going to prioritize it. Like, it's just gonna come patched on the next software update. So if you are in that situation, if you're in that boat, you just gotta live with it. And that's what freaks me out with Motorola. That's what scares me with Motorola, because it's just the software, right? Granted, like I said, they did really good, and I love how they've implemented the multitasking to where it can be like a carousel of applications that you can alternate between. However, it still is jittery, it still lags, and it shouldn't. For that Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 processor, it can run that no problem. The 16 gigabytes of RAM, it can be smooth, no problem. Better refinement, better optimization is where it needs to go. They've done good. And like, I think this also kind of goes back into the Moto AI. It's just like, they did it. I don't know if they're getting a piece of the pie from Perplexity. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but they just throw Moto AI into the middle of this because they want to say, hey, we got AI too, which we already have Gemini, so we don't need it, right? But it's just poorly thrown in. Like, it doesn't work very well. Like, okay, catch me up. It's just reading the notifications. That's not AI. That's just reading the notifications. The home screen, it's just not there, right? So it was just, software support is my biggest scare, my biggest gripe with the Motorola Razr. Everything else has been fantastic. My hesitance and scares and fears aside, this phone has been fantastic. The design, fantastic. The speed, fantastic. I think they did a good balance between, did we put an elite processor in here and have to pay an additional $100 or $200 more? The fact that it has a Moto pin is fantastic. I wish there was a way where we could incorporate that a part of the phone and not have to carry a big carrying case with it all the time, but nevertheless, it supports it. Samsung took that away. Fantastic, good job, Motorola. You really did kind of one-up Samsung in that perspective, and I've seen people switch to the Motorola Razr Fold because of that. A lot of people like the pin. Their pin is very well. It does good, it does great. The camera's fantastic. The cameras have done really well too. I was not expecting to go into this and be like, oh, the cameras are gonna be good. It's a Motorola. But no, they did good. Everything's been good. The battery's great, dude. The best foldable battery there is, dude. Best foldable battery. I love it. The battery, if you just want a good phone with a big battery that folds, this is your phone right here. Final word, I think it's a great phone. Should you buy it if software is not a big concern for you? And I know a lot of people don't really care for software. If you can wait, if you're not like needing the next big thing immediately like me and have that FOMO, dude, this is the phone for you, 100%. I think it's a great device. I think you would love it. I think it's amazing. I've recommended it to a lot of people. My friend got one. It's been great. It's been awesome. No going wrong. It's a great device, dude. And after the hype, I think it's still a great device. What I would like to see from Motorola going forward is just better software support. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know if you liked the video. Am I yapping too much? I think I may have this time. It's been a while since I made a video. I moved into a new place, if you can't tell, so that's where the delay's been. But I'm back, and it feels good to be back, and it's phone season. So without further ado, we'll catch you in the next video. If you did like the video, make sure to drop a big fat like. But until then, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.